Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
What is going on? You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition where we're here every Wednesday night on the Crowdcast platform. I am your host, Steve V. This is episode 772, post Pride Month, Pride Weekend, alongside Cody Maurice Doggett. How the hell you doing, and how much fun did we have on Pride?
Hello, darling. It was insane, but it was one of the funnest times I've ever had in my life. So thank you. Thanks to everybody that was there. And I love you all. And you know who you are. So great.
Speaking
time.
of, you know, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We had so much fun. One of the parties that we went to was in Central Park. Iconic. That we got there about 6 o'clock. It went till 10. It was DJ'd by S.G. Lewis, who I love, and I couldn't believe he
so good.
was spinning, and it was so iconic. We just danced and danced and danced and danced, and it was so much fun. But I wanted to shout out to a couple people. One being a guy that I saw when I walked in at the very beginning, and I didn't catch your name, but I believe you said you were from Texas, Dallas, if I'm not wrong, and you greeted me at the very beginning when I was walking in, and thank you. If you give us your name, if you DM me at @IAM_Steve V, we'll shout you out properly. But it was really nice that you, said, "Hey, you're Steve V from Tags Podcast," and I said, "I am." So I hope you had as much fun as we did at Dreamland. I also wanted to shout out to Dawn from Chicago, who's a listener that really, when we were putting out some stuff for social media for Pride Weekend, he wanted to wish us a happy Pride. Don, I hope you had a good Pride. Don from Chicago, thanks for being a listener as well. And if you want to be shouted out, we can always do that as well. And you can always go to our Patreon, grab a free account, and write us a message, ask us for advice. Just want to shout out, tell us where you're listening from. It's always fun, like I said, at these parties to meet people that like recognize us and want us.
I love it.
Yeah, it's really fun. And we really appreciate you listening and you wanting us and saying hi to us. So, but it is officially, Pride Month is over. It's July 1st. And good news for you because you're Cancer and we've got your birthday coming up. So that's really exciting. Shout out to Cody Maurice Doggett. But we wanted to just get into our sex talk today. And we've got a really good one coming your way. And it's all stemmed. Let me just read what I was thinking, that basically we wanted to talk about something that has been kind of on my mind about the roles we play in public, in private, and yes, in the bedroom, or dare I say the bathroom, because we all know people who seem to have a public version of themselves, public figures, politicians, media personalities, celebrities. They get behind a microphone or in front of a camera and suddenly there's this character. The outrage gets bigger. The cruelty often gets sharper. I'll reference who I'm talking about in a minute, but the ego gets louder. The opinions get more extreme. And then you hear someone say, "Oh, but they're totally different in person." And it always makes me wonder, Cody, is that supposed to make it better?
Yeah.
If someone can turn cruelty on for an audience and then turn it off over dinner, what does that really actually say? If someone can say something racist, transphobic, demeaning, or dangerous publicly, but then be charming privately, is that like a contradiction, or is that the performance? And at what point does the performance become the person? I think about someone like our president where Obama seems to live rent free in his head. I was just watching something last week where Obama responded to that, like he lives rent free in my head. And I think about people in the media who seem to shift depending on the audience. I'm talking about Megyn Kelly, who has said very transphobic things on her show these days. She's also called out for Haitians to go home via a brand new initiative that is come into effect. And she's actually on her television show welcome trans people onto her show. So who is the real them? But then, of course, I have to bring it back to us because gay people, we know a lot about playing roles, right? Many of us learned how to perform before we ever learned how to be honest. And we've performed straightness. I have. We've performed masculinity. We've performed being fine. We've performed being chill when we were hurt. We've performed things like confidence when we were insecure. And we performed desire before we understood what we actually wanted. Some of us even performed entire versions of ourselves just to feel safe, to love, wanted, or included. In the bedroom, that can be even more complicated. Top, bottom, verse, dom, sub, all those things. Sometimes those roles are fun. Sometimes they're hot. Sometimes they help us. And I think this is why honesty matters so much on this show. And Cody, we were talking about this in our meeting, that when I was coming up with this show theme, and I was talking about the various public figures that put on personas, and then I brought it back to gay men on how we've all come up with versions of ourselves throughout time to kind of like a safety valve.
Yeah.
But on this show, 8+ years, we can't be anything but ourselves for the most part. In other words, you guys don't want to listen to us if we're not honest, real, and open about our honest stories, giving advice. And I think that's what podcasts has always been about. It's about being real. So tonight, when are we performing? When are we protecting ourselves? And when are we betraying ourselves in public, in relationships, in queer spaces? Who are we when we finally stop playing the role? Let's get into it, Cody. I mean, what are your thoughts about performative people that, you know, are performative and do it for content creation, but then what about us on how we put ourselves out there?
Well, I want to kind of start off because something that you said really touched me and made me think about some things, and it goes back to the Kevin Hart roast for me and the comedian Tony Hinchcliffe. He said so many racist, and he said a joke about George Floyd, and it just did not go over well for me.
Give people a little bit of reference on what that was. It was Kevin Hart was being roasted a couple months ago, and nowadays people roast people, and it's not like the old days. I'm going to age myself. Don Rickles was the old days of roasting people. They went in, but now it's gotten.
But there were
really
boundaries. Yeah, it's gotten very vicious. I feel like certain things were off limits, especially like racist things, because I think a huge difference is a lot of Tony Hinchcliffe's followers believe that he actually believes these things. And I saw in an interview with Yamaneika Sanders, who knows him professionally, she says he's not like that at all. And I trust her because she's a very shoot from the hip type of person. I met her a couple times, and she's just always been very upfront and honest about so many things. So I think that is the type of performative like outrage that I think that a lot of people are doing nowadays. And I think that that's in the worst way possible, because so many people jump on that bandwagon and they think that that's their authentic self, and that hate is the way to either get more famous or what they should be leaning into right now. And I think that is just completely insane personally. So I think that like a lot of people are doing things to be performative, and it's not necessarily the best thing, because who are you at the end of the day? I think we spoke a lot about who we are as podcasters, and I I've said too many things on this podcast that I
Or
can't even take back.
or just enough. But
No,
yeah.
girl. Some days I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe I said that on the podcast. And I think it's going to happen today. There's some things that are coming up and I'm like, I
Yeah,
can't
right.
help
Me
but
too.
spill. So I understand that 100%, that we have to be very authentic when we're doing this. But even that, and still there is, like, we're professionals, right? We do this for a living, and there is honesty in being a podcaster, but there's also still like a professional front that we have to put forward.
Sure.
And I do think that there are some things that I keep for myself, not very many things.
I know these days, right?
Yeah,
Really,
yeah. But I do think there are some things that I keep for myself, as opposed to, and
yeah.
I don't think that
Of
that's
course, I do
inauthentic
as
or
well.
putting on a front. But yeah, we
Yeah.
have to be completely 100% honest as far as, and that's how you relate to people. That's how you get them to really see you on the inside. And I think that's what a lot of people that are following those performative performers, I think that that's what they're genuinely looking for. And unfortunately, they're not getting it.
Yeah, I mean, we can name a lot. Clavicular comes to mind.
Oh
The
my
person
God, that guy.
Drake Vaughn, who's currently been in that reality show Ultimate Boys Trip, who seemingly does gay for pay at times, was within a relationship at one point, but just was arrested for strangulation and stalking of his quote unquote girlfriend. So what's real, what's not? He just got arrested for a DUI. He's somebody that's very popular in porn spaces for
Hmm.
gay men. And what's real, what's not? I do think, though, you were right that, and what we were saying as podcasters, people do listen to us for our authenticity. And yes, like you said, there are certain things that we keep to ourselves. Like, I'm not shelling out every detail of Diego and I's relationship, but I'm sharing quite a bit. And there's a lot. And in my new I have a new Substack at The Naked Truth, if you just want to look it up. There's free reads and then there's a paid tier, but I go into great detail about a lot of my past and sexuality that lets you into how I grew up and my sexuality. But there's still things that I hold near and dear to my heart that, you're never going to know every bit of us.
Yeah.
And that's okay, but you'll get more of an inside. And I think hopefully that's relatable. But a lot of people do this for persona, and it's cruel and it's mean spirited. And I don't, I don't like that mean spirited side to it. What do you think of that mean spirited side that is a part of it?
I think it's completely unnecessary. And again, it's inauthentic. Somebody who I think really comes across for that, you were mentioning Megyn Kelly, and she kind of just flip-flops wherever the wind blows her.
Right.
And I think that a lot of that, again, is to gain an audience. And it's what kind of audience are you gaining from being inauthentic and not true to what you believe? And also, when you're like that, and when you do that and you go wherever the wind blows, you lose a piece of yourself, because what do you even really think? Do you know anymore? Or does you going through the motions of agreeing with whomever is in vogue in the moment, is that what your personality is? And I think that that's not the way that I want to live my life. It's not the way that I was raised. It's not the way I want my friends to be when they are around me. I want everybody to stand on what they believe in and what is important to them. Even if we disagree, we don't agree on every single thing. And I enjoy having a debate with you and being able to hear your perspective on things. And I think a lot of that is missing in this equation as well. I feel like people aren't opening to listening and really hearing the other side of a lot of things that are out there right now. And I'm thinking about it and I'm like, some things aren't worth listening to. But that's a very negative way of thinking, because I feel like there are most things you can listen for. When you talk about like dehumanizing a person, I'm not here for that. So that's the only thing that's kind of off the table for me.
I mean, the thing I'll give to a little bit of this discussion that the persona that we put out there is, yeah, I mean, I tend to post things, for example, this past weekend for Pride weekend or the weekend before last where we were at Folsom East. And Diego's really good at putting together stories and editing too. I mean, we had great times though. So we actually were having a good time, but it's an edited version of what you saw. But I
A lot of
mean,
things we can't show.
you can't show that. You couldn't show our whole entire weekend, y'all, because
Girl, we'd have been banned so quick.
it was rough, but in a good way.
In
We
the
use
best
that
way
word.
possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Rough like RUFF.
Exactly. But it does bring us to our own gay connection, our gay culture, where many of us have had to perform. And that's what I was really thinking about when I was watching a lot of these stories of this new wave of people that their public persona doesn't really match who they are in real life. I mean, I think Obama said it best when he was talking about Trump, and he said he never said anything like that to me in person, meaning he would never do that. And it's like this public persona. But gay people in many ways have learned, I think, to put out a persona to add a survival throughout the years. I mean, there was years and years and years where I wasn't out to family, friends, or even when I came out to my sister, wasn't out to my parents, wasn't out to my extended relatives. And then that was the time when things like social media, MySpace, Facebook were coming about. Well, I couldn't post a lot of the things that I would have wanted to, like I do today, proudly and out there, that I could have back then. I was hiding things. There's been times I'm going back in the day in sports, in gymnastics, even in a sport like gymnastics, you ask. But really, most of the guys were straight. It was the 80s, it was the early 90s. And I played the part of a straight person and had to act like bro this, bro that, because of what it would mean. And I think many of us have learned to be masculine, confident, just all kinds of things, hide our sexuality throughout the years. And little by little, hopefully, many of us have unpeeled that onion to reveal our true selves. But it's kind of innate in us as gay men. Would you agree with that statement?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've definitely faked it until I made it for so many, because I was a very effeminate young child, and I feel like that was like it was. I was stripped of all of that, basically. I was trained, basically, to be more masculine. I mean, and it kind of stuck because I feel like I might be a little bit better for it, because now I feel like I've embraced my masculine and my feminine, because I don't know if I was really even in touch with it when I was much younger. But that's neither here nor there. I feel like for me, masculinity, I don't think it was forced on me, but I feel like it was encouraged in me. Maybe I should put it that way, because when I was much younger, I remember, my parents saying, my mom especially, being like, no, you can't do this, please, no crying, and all of these things. And I learned to detach my emotions, and I made a very conscious decision. Boys don't cry. Very early on, to not really deny my emotions. I remember when my grandmother passed, and like I wasn't supposed to cry at the funeral. There was this whole thing,
my
and
God,
I said,
"Really?
I know, girl, it was a lot." And then I was alone in my bed at night, and I made I think I was like 12, and I was like, "That's not right. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not going to hide who I am or my emotions, and I'm going to feel them 100% completely." So that's when I decided.
Good for you that you
I'm
did
going to
that
be an
early
emotional
on.
Cancer for the rest of my life.
You are a Cancer. It's your month, and we love Cancers, and thank God for you. Yeah, but boys don't cry is a real thing. I mean, I have two questions to kind of pose. They're both opposing, but one of them is, did you ever perform masculinity to feel safe or desirable? And I think I answered that question before, that absolutely I did. And then there was a period in time, even when I was out, still not out to my family and certain friends, but I would perform masculinity. I was a go-go dancer, and I came across in some ways as maybe the masculine side of things, and I would lean into that. But ultimately, I had a different side of myself that I was really hiding. Did you ever perform masculinity to kind of get by,
Oh,
whether
definitely.
in gay relationships or not?
All through high school. And then even now, I feel like I put on muscle to perform masculinity. I think that that's me trying to outwardly express my masculinity to the rest of the world. Now, I think that's actually protected me from a lot of negative interactions with other people, except for yesterday, because some lady asked me, was I looking for a dick to suck? And I was like, aghast. She yelled it at me. Are you looking for a dick to suck? I said, I want to be like, yes, bitch. Well, you got something.
Exactly.
But definitely, I perform masculinity, and I'm not going
You
to say
do. I would
perform.
say you do maybe in your social media, but you're so open on this show on saying things like you're a blouse. I think people are complicated, and you're a beautiful kaleidoscope of all the
Yeah,
aspects of what it means to be a man. And
yeah.
I think we often perform too. You probably don't even remember this blip of a moment. We were walking down the street over Pride weekend, and I think we were headed over to Rawhide. And there was like a group of three guys. They were clearly straight. And we were walking out in our looks, scantily
Hmm.
clad, that were, very out there gay. And
But bitch, we
I
look
did
good.
think for a second, like, who are these guys? And this is New York City too. But
Hmm.
I think it was probably nothing, but they were looking at us for a second. And I had to kind of just softly look over my left shoulder a few just to make sure there wouldn't be a problem. Now, I know I probably made that up in my head. I know you
Hmm.
probably and Diego
I didn't
didn't
even
notice it at
notice.
all. But these are little things that we've had to deal with too out of survival that you never know that our community has been targets at times,
Yeah,
and I'm a little
totally.
bit at times on not edge or anxiety, but I'm just a little bit aware, like, who's around me, what's going on. And again, I'm probably making it up in my head, but there are things that go through our head that maybe made me just kind of separate a little bit and just be a little bit aware and
Yeah,
plant
and
my
that's a
feet
good
down a
thing.
little bit more. Yeah. I mean, I think it's
Everybody
a
should
good
be
thing.
aware of their surroundings and what's
Yeah.
going on around them. There's things that could possibly be going on in this world around you that could harm you, and it's good. Don't be scared of it.
No, not
On
scared, but
don't let it hinder you from doing things out in the world, but be aware because it could actually help you as far as keeping yourself safe. So yeah, there's that. But also when we were in that group, uh, that allowed me to feel the totality of the spectrum that I encompass. Like I embrace my masculine and my feminine, and being around people that are the same ilk, like people that I can relate to, and in the way that my sexuality presents itself, I think that that allows me to feel and be able to express myself completely, and it helps me not have to put on that front. Like I'm sure there were times when I was like queening out when I was with you guys. I do that in my everyday situation when I feel safe. But also, I'm sure there were times when I was uh, butching it up a little bit because I think that those two things are a part of me. And like you said, it's a huge spectrum. We as human beings are not as simple as one binary being either masculine or feminine. There's a whole myriad and a whole spectrum. I said it before, but I'll say it again, that lies within us as far as how we present ourselves and how in touch we are with who we are as a human being.
and I would argue, as you and myself of a certain age, that we are a beautiful kaleidoscope of different sides of ourselves versus playing different roles as a sort of content creation thing that is false, that is anti exactly how we actually feel. In other words,
Yeah.
if Megyn Kelly can be anti-trans now and then on her show was welcoming them a year or two ago, and if Trump can't really say how he really feels to Obama in real life, but says all these things, but it's a different, those are like really lascivious and actually strategic. And we're just actually presenting a more beautiful, myriad of ourselves. We are reminding you that we are live. And Adrian says, good evening. And boys don't hug. That's what I was told. And I had the same experience at my grandfather's funeral, Cody. And he told me prior to his death not to cry. Oh, wow.
That really hurt my heart when that happened to me. So I owe you a hug, Adrian. When I see you, I'm hugging you through the camera right now.
Yeah. I mean, I was just at my, now I'm at, 55, and I was just at my uncle's funeral who died at 93. And he really had an impact on my life. He was at my confirmation, and we all cried at that. And I cried, and all of my family accepted me so much at this funeral. It was really more of a celebration of love. And it was really awesome to be so welcomed by my family in so many ways as a gay man in my 50s. And I just thought it was really beautiful to, be accepted by my family, and I showed up for them all the way from New York when they,
That's right.
Bryce watching us live said, let's talk about masculinity, expectations in Black community. As a child, my family often said that white straight men were gay because they were allowed to express themselves more freely. Even today, there are still expectations that hypermasculinity is the only acceptance way to behave if one wants to be valued within the Black community. Yeah, I mean, Cody, you could speak to that, but Latinos as well.
Yeah, and it's all across the diaspora, and as far as like even going into Latino culture as well with the whole machismo thing. Yeah, I think that I have felt a lot of pressure from my communities to be a more masculine person, and it can be very overwhelming and a little bit suffocating. So yeah, I've learned that masculinity is however I choose to express it, and I'm enough, and that's what I have to keep telling myself, to fight back from those negative thoughts and expectations from other people.
We're talking about the roles that gay men have played throughout our existence, and how we've shed a lot of that over the years, hopefully, and how a lot of people actually play roles today as content creators, politicians and actors. And we are live, and Doug says, growing up in the 80s, I had to be masculine to just survive small town. 1,400 people was, wow, that's not that many people, right? It's like my high school.
Yeah, I can speak to that too. When I was growing up
in 1,400 people. Yeah, that's crazy, Kansas. Doug. Yeah, what was the town? I'm just curious. Where you grew up? We probably asked this before from you, but I would love to know.
I think Oklahoma.
But I grew up in the 80s too, and I put on that front as well. I think it's for many of us of a certain age, it was a common denominator that we did play these roles. But we did it out of survival, which is opposed to today. A lot of content creators and politicians and actors do this just to make money. Let's just call it what it is.
I have a question for you, because something that you said sparked an interest or something in me, because you said something when they're doing it lasciviously. What about the people that are doing it just for entertainment value? I think Paris Hilton, about how when she is not on camera, she's not a ditz at all. That's what the general consensus is. That's what people are saying in the streets. And also New York. When she's off camera, when she's on camera, she's very methodical about what she says and how she presents herself. Like it's an act, how she's acting out there in the real world. So what do you think about that, as opposed to, like, they're not really hurting anybody? It's just for entertainment, but it's still disingenuous to a certain degree.
Well, public personas, like, so we're going to talk in a little bit, of course, because it's the countdown to Madonna's Confessions too. And she may be the queen of donning a new persona. I think she says it at the very beginning of the album on the first single, I Feel So Free. Sometimes I feel like a different person. She's whispering, and she releases all of this on the dance floor. It's a new persona. On the cover of Interview magazine, she dons this, I think it's called Dee Dee. She dons this new persona called Dee Dee. Madame X comes to mind, where she was a whole different persona. It is for the art, for the project, for something, yeah, art form. And if you're not harming anybody or saying anything awful to anybody, like Megyn Kelly or our president is saying to another individual, like one of them saying, "Go home, Haitians." One of them is calling Barack Hussein Obama and won't stop saying that. Those are harmful to individual groups. Paris
Yeah.
Hilton donning a persona because it's her shtick, if you will.
Yeah.
Madonna doing it for art form because it's a part of a project and a new persona. All are that's fine. We all I've put on personas at times as well throughout the years, and they weren't harming anybody or directed lasciviously to any one person or group of people. They were just an act that I was putting on for a period of time. I would argue that my leather community, BDSM, was not always just me, but I was donning a persona of a community that I wanted to be a part of that represented me at that particular time. So no,
Yeah.
there is a difference. It is fine to take on a new character, but we are also talking about people that do it for money and an audience, and that is harmful and is somewhat evil.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think that when it's not maliciously deceptive, like they're doing it just for fun and they're doing it to entertain everyone, and everyone's kind of in on the joke because we know that these two people, and many more people, do have this shtick just for entertainment purposes. And I think that as long as they're not, like, if someone put on a fake persona or facade against me and they wanted to trick me into believing that that's who they were genuinely on the inside, I can see that there's wrongdoing and that there is some malicious intent in that. I don't see the malicious intent in pretending to be a ditz or a dumb blonde just for entertainment purposes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. We have some more comments. I want to get to them. I still want to get to the
go.
sexuality of all of it, too.
Oh, man.
Maybe we'll have a part two. Do you want to?
Yeah.
I'll read Adrian's. Adrian says, I consider the roles that gay men have to. We're live, by the way, so this is always fun when you guys weigh in. Adrian says, I consider the roles that gay men have to assume are just like being a single parent. You have to be two people at the same time. You have to wear various hats, and you have to control your emotions, and it's exhausting. And I agree with that. I think as a parent, which I can only imagine, you have to play those roles. But I hope as gay men that we won't have to play those roles as much. And maybe even as parents, you won't have to play those roles, other than the fact that there's certain things that are inappropriate, say, for children. But besides that, I hope that you can just be yourselves as a parent and not have to. Great. What do you say to that?
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
And then we'll move on to...
I think that he has a very valid point.
Yeah. Do you want to read Bryce's? And then
I'll
we'll
read
move on?
Bryce's. Bryce says, agreed. He's been saying that for years, mass for mass, MASC for MASC, is really often MASK for MASK. Gay masculinity can sometimes feel like a masquerade. Also, not being masculine does not automatically mean being feminine. We can simply be ourselves. It's interesting that we have so many recognized gender identities, yet so many people still reduce expression to only two categories, masculine or feminine. Yeah, I totally hear that. And if there's a spectrum as far as gender is concerned, I'm sure, and sexuality, I'm sure there's a gender in expressing both of those things as well.
And I want to say that I feel like there's a wave now, thanks to all of the work of so many generations before us that have got us to this point. So many young people, I want to shout out to a lot of young people that really rode on the heels of a lot of the work of people before them, but that are free and open and out there and living their lives. I mean, we just had a guest, The Rose, on the show recently that you and I personally have seen them grow in the short time we've known them, but now is a film director, writer, poet that has not just made it into Frameline, San Francisco, New Fest, New York, Seattle Film Festival, but is working on their next film and is living it right now. And I can't help but think their identity, which is unapologetic and sharing their stories through media, is a new wave that is maybe what a lot of us didn't go through, but there is a next generation that hopefully won't have to hide and play these roles, even if it is for, not for content creation or money, but that they won't have to go through that. And I want to really believe that, because I think that's really important.
Me too. Yeah. And I've learned so much from thee. So
yes, absolutely. I mean, if we're to take it to the bedroom, have you ever performed a sexual role because you thought that was what somebody wanted? I think the answer for me is yes. I've definitely played that role before, whether it was top, bottom. I, for years, would play the role that I was a people pleaser. I still am in many ways, and I'm still dealing with that. And I should probably call my therapist on Monday. But I mean, but people pleasing has always been my thing, and I've had to deal with that for years. I'm a planner. It's just built into my Capricornian spirit for many reasons. But I also think I've learned to speak up and tell people what I want in my, now I've learned to listen to my husband and what we need for our relationship to make us succeed in the bedroom as well. And that's been juggling a little bit, but I welcome it. Have you ever performed a sexual role because you thought that was what someone wanted?
Yes, but for me, I feel like because I was less aggressive in the bedroom before. And then when I decided, when I was like performing the whole masculine, the whole more domineering type of persona, I discovered that I enjoyed it. So it's kind of like a mixed bag for me, because yes, I have tried to been performative, but it also helped me discover some things about myself. And then I really actually like being being dominant. I was just thinking about when I was in the Eagle. Oh my God, I get crazy.
And to you, I pick up the baton on what you're saying is that for years, I've said on this show before, I leaned into being a really good bottom, and I became very versatile and learned that I'm a good top as well, and learned to actually be I wouldn't say domineering, but a good top. But that wasn't something that I grew up. It was not the role, again, with the roles that people put me into that I accepted freely, but that I learned about myself. And a lot of it had to do with the leather community that I learned to just embrace about myself, that I have a different side of myself too. And it took me to maybe my late 40s to finally realize that I have this other side of myself. So that is also the top, and all this stuff. So yeah, I do think we're complicated, and we've played roles throughout the years as for survival, but through our podcast, this podcast has helped me really relinquish and talk about my sexuality in so many ways. I mean, yes, I'm very excited about that and where we've come. And I want to continue this conversation because I think it's a good one.
It
You can
definitely is.
always continue the conversation all week. Maybe there'll be a part 2. Who knows? But if you go to our Patreon page, weigh in on some of this stuff like some of our live virtual audience has done. Go to patreon.com/tags podcast. And we'll continue the conversation all week. And maybe there'll be a part 2 next week. Who knows? But it's time to get into hot topics, and there are a bunch of them. And we had to talk about this, Cody, because Jussie Smollett and Karamo Brown have been on our minds on this show for various reasons. Not always great, but apparently they're dating. And it's been confirmed by TMZ, confirmed it. You said they were spotted at LAX kissing.
Yep.
Karamo Brown was on a podcast recently where he was just talking about, you meet the right person when you have that feeling, when it just feels right. He is my future husband. And all I could think was, okay, Karamo, you said that before, not once, but twice. Jussie Smollett, who we all remember the news, the Chicago moment where he allegedly, according to authorities, faked his own falsehood about, assault, is trying to make a comeback, I think, because he just performed at Harlem Pride, and they are linked up now. And we should mention that Jussie Smollett just got engaged last summer, a year ago, to his fiancée, and just this June announced that they are no longer engaged, that they called it off, and now he's linked with Karamo Brown. Is this performative, Cody? So soon, when you just announced earlier at the beginning of Pride Month that you are no longer with your fiancé, that you made a big deal about on social media, that now you're not, and Karamo Brown, who's been also in the media for things with, he didn't show up to the finale of Queer Eye because he had beef with his former colleagues, castmates. What do you say to all this?
Well, I think if you look up performative, both of their pictures would be in the dictionary because this is wild to me. And you know what? I hope that this is real. I wish them nothing but the best. Really, honestly, I love. I hope that, I really do hope that they have found someone that they can spend the rest of their lives with, or a significant amount of time. But I just want to make sure that they have enough mirrors in that house because they both really love themselves a lot. So I think that, this is good for them. It seems very performative because, sometimes these relationships, they help boost profile. But maybe I can get me into one of these kind of relationships because, and I heard that
I don't want to see you in something like that. Karamo made a whole point on a recent podcast to say that, we waited because we didn't want to hear the comments. And I'm like, how long did you wait? Because Jussie at the beginning of June barely announced his breakup with his fiancée.
Yeah.
So you waited, a month? You waited Pride Month, and then that's it? It just, to your point, seems very performative. Bryce, watching us live, says, Jussie's assaulter was dancing back up at Harlem Pride, which is hilarious.
That is crazy. I heard that performance, I seen a little snippet of it. I heard it wasn't anything to watch. So good luck
Let
to
us know how you
Jussie
weigh
and Karamo.
on that. Well, Minneapolis officially has lifted its AIDS era ban on bathhouses. So decades have gone by where back in the day during the AIDS epidemic, Minneapolis had a whole thing where they basically said no more bathhouses or sex spaces for gay men due to the AIDS epidemic. But it was never lifted all of these years. And on Thursday, the Minneapolis City Council voted 9-2 to approve two ordinances covering adult bathhouses and sex venues. One ordinance covers licenses and businesses regulations, and a separate measure covers health and sanitation. And Mayor Jacob Frey had previously indicated he would be happy to sign ordinances if they reached his desk. He did exactly that over the weekend, which happened to coincide in the city's Pride festivities. Frey posted a video of himself signing the best Pride weekend yet. And I think this is a really great thing after all of these years that basically says, because I think what a lot of people don't realize, Cody, is a lot of these spaces now will post all kinds of posters that are for our community about getting PrEP and DoxyPep, things that keep us safe. Oftentimes, if you notice, a lot of the spaces we were going to this weekend, Rawhide and so forth, which had dark rooms, had plenty of Mr. posters posted around the entire club and venue talking about how you should, be mindful, and there is free information out there to get on DoxyPep, which can save you from STIs, and of course, PrEP that you can get for free if you sign up for these things. And they were posted everywhere. Didn't you see those things? And that's
Yeah.
what this is happening in Minneapolis. What do you say to
Yeah.
all of this?
So good. I'm just so happy that a lot of these bans are being lifted, and I think that it was really kind of attack on us and our sex. It's trying to make us illegal, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that a lot of this is lifted, and that we're more free and open to be able to do those things in those places.
Yes, absolutely, and not being ashamed of it. I think that's the other thing too. Yeah. We should probably do this story next, where I love a good moment when people use something like an LGBTQ pride run that happened here this past weekend, where one of them decided to propose to the other. Footage of a same-sex couple proposal from New York over the weekend went viral. The incident took place at the finish line of the annual Front Runners New York LGBT Pride Run. The Central Park event, organized in partnership with New York Roadrunners, attracted over 8,000 people, and two men crossed the finish line dressed as Buzz Lightyear and Woody from the Toy Story franchise. As they did so, Woody turned back to his partner. Lightyear asked Woody if he'll keep running with me. I don't know if you saw the video, but it was really special. And he got down on his knee, and in the caption, the New York Roadrunners said, 5 years ago, Omar, who plays Woody in this, invited Chris, who didn't consider himself a runner, to run the Pride Run together because it would mean the world to him. Chris agreed. With the race now being an annual tradition in their relationship, complete with coordinated outfits, Chris surprised Omar with a proposal at the finish line, we wish them a lifetime of happiness. And it was really beautiful. And that's how you do it, right? I mean, if you're going to do it out there, as opposed to today, also here in New York City, when daredevil climbers apparently got engaged after scaling the needle of the iconic Empire State Building. A straight couple. See, we're talking about a gay couple that did it right over Pride weekend. Classy. A couple has been taken into custody, of course, after climbing the very top of the New York City's Empire State Building, the Needle part of it. Russian nationalists Angela Nikola and Ivan Birkus unfurled a large banner at the tip of the skyscraper's needle that read, "When the power of love beats the power, when the power of love beats the love of power, the world knows peace," and then proceeded to get engaged there. And it, yeah, okay, whatever. Now they're going to spend their wedding in jail. I hope it was worth it because
I like the message though. I saw it. I was like at the gym working
I just
out,
think
and I was
do
like,
it
wow.
in a run. You saw if we'll post both of these on our Patreon community, because if you watch the run, which the announcers, they did it at the end of the race, and they were
Which I don't
so
know how they had
happy
the
for
energy.
them and clapped, and it was just beautiful. And then these people did it as a stunt and had a camera for their audience, right? Here we go again with performative, and then proceeded to come down and were hauled into custody. And from what I hear is they were going to be made an example of, because New York City doesn't want this shit. We don't want people doing those kinds of. They are going to be the example. Forget about a wedding. Now they're going to have to hire lawyers if they have the money. It's just stupid straight people. And
I'm still
listen to us, gay people. We know how to do it. As always, on the dance floor.
But I'm still more happy for them than I am for Jussie and Karamo.
I think I'm right with you on that one too. I'm a little bit. And that, what does that say about us?
I don't know.
OMG, exactly. We just have to, I mean, I would be remiss if it's a countdown to Madonna's 15th studio album coming out July 3rd. Talking about Friday, Confessions on the Dance Floor 2. There's all these things she's set to maybe perform in London, or at least show up for London's Pride, which is on July 4th. Okay, they don't celebrate America like we obviously. It's London. And she's going to show up there. I'm so excited. It's a countdown. There's all these parties galore, and I'm going to be playing it from the beginning to end all day long on Friday. Cannot wait. It's just super exciting. And yeah, so excited about that. Let me know if you're excited about that. Plus, she's performing at the closing ceremonies of the World Cup. And believe it or not, I've been watching some of these games. Mexico won yesterday, and I was cheering.
Yeah.
And Paraguay won the day before, and we were screaming for Diego.
Go Diego.
And tonight, America's playing right now, and I don't know if they're winning or not, but they were last I turned on. So those are the three things I'm looking at. It is what it is. But we have to get into some advice. I feel like I've been talking a lot. Do you want to read the situationship?
we gotta get through it. I will read it.
We got to get through it, and I'm going to put Thirst Trap in for people to vote.
So this Redditor writes in, I'm 46 and recently divorced. Been seeing this guy 42, out since high school. This person has been, and they've been seeing each other for months. It started out as a hookup, but things started to grow and they started to develop feelings. He's a great guy, warm, kind, with tons of smiles. He's a bit distant and has said he wants to see how things go and keep things casual.
So far, so good, right?
So far, so good. The guy asked if there were other guys that he was also talking to, and he said yes. And he says he then asked if he speaks to them the same, because this guy has been saying that he loves him and other things like that, or if the connection is as great with him. And he responded, no, still doing okay. They had an amazing date, like the Hallmark channel. I don't know why I can ever say that word, and then he asked him if it was normal for him to tell someone that he loves
Maybe
them
because you don't watch the Hallmark channel.
Exactly. I'm the least Hallmark person in the world. And wanted to introduce him to his friends and family. He said that wasn't things he was doing with the other guys, but he still has some things to figure out. So basically, he's writing in to see if he's either stuck with going full tilt and possibly scaring this other guy away, or tiptoeing around this and hoping to inch a little bit closer. He wants advice on how to kind of lock it in, or if he should just continue moving slow for this other person while they see other people that they're not necessarily as involved with. What are your thoughts, Steve?
I mean, I think it's really easy to get in your head and get anxiety about somebody you really like. But I haven't heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cody, because maybe I didn't hear it, that he's mentioned to this person that he's into him.
Yes, they're both catching feelings.
They're both, no, I know they're both catching feelings, but the other one is actually exploring. And
yes, and this one kind of wants to lock it down.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever a problem if it's been a minute to say I'm really into you and to actually ask. I did that with Diego, and because there was a moment where I was confused, and I was like, wait a minute, and I locked it down, and I asked, and basically, and we went on a romantic weekend together in P-Town. So I don't think it's wrong if you're both feeling that way, but you're unsure of the other person. But I also think you should add a little bit of grace to yourself too, and them too, because not everybody's always on the same page and at the same pace.
Yes, exactly. I agree with you. I think that there is, you can take it slow, and I feel like there is something to be said for that. But I also think that you ask for what you want, basically. So you definitely put it out there and you ask for clarity as opposed to asking for him to commit. I think that asking just to see where his head is at, where he is as far as moving towards being in a closed relationship. I'm watching a lot of Love Island too, so there's that. So yes, but also you put up with this until you can't put up with it anymore. If you get tired of him exploring with other people, there's that word, Love Island. If you get tired of him exploring with other people, then you might have to bow out. This might not be the person for you, because he might be too set on actually seeing if other people are more compatible with him. So yeah, maybe it'll work out for you, but I say be as patient until you can't be patient anymore.
That's fair advice, and I love that. And we're gonna you get the final word on that one, because it is time for. And by the way, you can always ask us for sex and relationship advice. You can slip into our DMs. We'll give them at the end of the show. You can go to tagspodcast.com and write us via the website. Either way, we are here for you. If nothing else, to weigh in and give you a new perspective. We've been around the block 10 times and more, and we have something to say. Week. But it is time for our final segment, which we love, Thirst Trap, and it's back. And this week, straight up gay porn sites ask the question, which one of these 11 gay porn stars took the best photo? And it's our job on an auditory podcast to vividly describe, because this show gets repackaged and most people listen to it, to vividly describe who and why we chose. Who do you pick and why, Cody? And make sure it's vividly auditory.
Yes, darling. So first of all, I want to say Ethan Rhett. There's a lot of hot guys on here, but Ethan Rhett is like my type.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
He is very sexy. But my pick is going to, of course, an ass shot, and it is by none other than Colt Spence. He is leaned over a workout bench in his home, which I think is fucking amazing, because I love a nice workout bench workout. And he is ass up, completely naked on the workout bench, and he's like reversing the camera, and there must be 2 mirrors on either side, because you can see him infinitely in the mirror that's in front of him, and he's got this shit-eating grin on his face. That's what I love when I see an ass that needs to be plugged, and I think that he is absolutely adorable, so my vote goes to him. Who are you picking this week?
There's a lot of people,
right?
And a lot of people showing their asses ready to go, including Angel Elias, who's showing his pink hole and ready to get pounded. And of course, Hung Jake LA is also
That's who I thought you were
showing
going
a
to pick.
huge cock, and I would
little bit
kind
of
of
hole.
go through that. But I think I'm going to go with Eric Ray because
Oh.
he is showing a beautiful ass ready to go. He's looking back over his left shoulder. He's showing a beautiful nipple. He's very smooth, and I'm feeling that for some reason today. His hole is smooth, and he has beautiful feet, and they're perfect arches, and I'm into feet. If you listened to the show before, and I like his feet, and he just looks delicious, ready to go, and I like the pose, and that's why I
Yeah.
pick him. In fact, I'm going to vote for him right now. And
He looks like the guy I went home with on Sunday. Remember that guy?
Oh yeah, I didn't want to out you on
can
that.
say it. I always say too much on this podcast.
Doug votes for Angel Elias, and Doug, thanks for the update on 2-0 in the 86th minute for the U.S. Joe watching us live says Geo Scar. Yes, I've been a fan of Geo Scar. Bryce says Gabriel Colimbra for me. Close second, Angel Elias, because the photo is a little blurry. Okay, fair. And keep voting. We'll post this on our Tags Patreon community. Go to patreon.com/Tags Podcast, where you can watch us, listen to us, get show notes, and of course, get this link so you can weigh in as well. Happy if you are in America. Find a way. There is a way to celebrate America this year. We're doing it. And we want you to have a very happy 4th of July here in America. But you can follow my co-host Cody at Mr. Maurice on Blue Sky and Instagram. Follow me on the gram. I am _Steve V. Go to tagspodcast.com. Don't forget about my Substack, The Naked Truth. Steve V, The Naked Truth Steve V. Just look for me on Substack. I just started. It's really good. And in the meantime, continue having hot case. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, virtual audience.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.